Scene 1, The Coffee Shop Encounter. Lila Hart entered Brood Awakening, her favorite coffee shop, the bell above the door chiming softly. The warm, inviting atmosphere was familiar and comforting. The walls were adorned with local art, and the smell of freshly brewed coffee wafted through the air, mingling with the sweet scent of pastries. As she approached the counter, she noticed the barista, Mia, who flashed a bright smile. "The usual, Lila?" "Definitely," Lila replied, her heart lightening at the friendly exchange. While waiting for her coffee, her eyes drifted to the window. There, in a cozy corner, sat Jack Ryder. He looked the same yet different, older, more rugged, but with that unmistakable spark in his hazel eyes. Lila's heart raced at the sight of him. "Lila?" Mia's voice broke her trance. Lila turned, her cheeks warming. "Sorry. I was just staring at Jack." Mia winked, handing Lila her coffee. "Maybe," Lila said, biting her lip. "I just didn't expect to see him back so soon." With her drink in hand, she hesitated before approaching Jack's table, her mind racing. What would she say? "Hey, stranger," she finally said, her voice a mix of excitement and nervousness. Jack looked up, a broad smile spreading across his face. "Lila. It's great to see you." He stood, pulling her into a warm hug. She could smell the faint scent of ocean and adventure on him, sending a thrill down her spine. "It's been too long. How have you been?" Lila asked, trying to keep her voice steady. "Busy. Traveling, writing, living the dream," he said, leaning back in his chair, his confidence apparent. "But honestly, I missed this place." "And you?" Lila's heart fluttered at his words. "You've been all over the world, and you missed little OL Seabreeze?" "It's home, Lila. And home isn't just a place, it's the people, too." His gaze bore into hers, and Lila felt a warmth radiate through her. "I'm working on my novel. It's set in a fictional town just like Seabreeze," she said, eager to share her passion. "It's about love, adventure, and self-discovery." Jack leaned in, genuinely interested. "I'd love to hear more about it. Can I read it when you're done?" "Of course, if you promise to be honest," she teased, a nervous laugh escaping her lips. "Only if you promise to be ready for my brutally honest feedback," he shot back, his eyes dancing with mischief. Their playful banter filled the air, and for a moment, the years apart faded away, leaving only the spark of familiarity and unspoken tension. Scene 2, A Walk on the Beach. After coffee, they decided to take a stroll along the beach. The sun hung low in the sky, casting a golden glow over the water. The gentle sound of waves lapping at the shore was a comforting backdrop as they walked side by side, their footsteps sinking into the sand. "Do you remember our last summer before you left?" Jack asked, glancing sideways at her. "We built that massive sandcastle, and then it got washed away." Lila laughed, the memory flooding back. "I was so mad at you for building it too close to the water. But it was fun. You always had a knack for turning everything into an adventure. And you were always the creative one," Jack said, his voice softening. "You've always had this incredible talent for storytelling." "Thanks," Lila replied, her heart swelling at his compliment. "I've always looked up to you, you know. You were the one who encouraged me to chase my dreams." Jack smiled, but there was a flicker of something in his eyes. Was it regret? "I was just trying to be a good friend." "Friends look out for each other," she replied, her tone teasing but her heart serious. "Speaking of friendship, do you think we can just go back to being friends now that you're back?" Jack stopped walking and turned to face her. "Is that what you want?" "Honestly? I don't know. I mean, you're back, and it's great, but," Lila's voice faltered. "What if things get complicated?" He took a step closer, the warmth radiating off him palpable. Complicated doesn't have to be a bad thing, Lila. We've always had a connection. You can't deny that. But we've both changed. What if we ruin what we had? She asked, her voice trembling slightly. We'll figure it out together, he replied, reaching for her hand. I'm not going anywhere. I promise. They continued walking, but the air between them crackled with unspoken words, and Lila couldn't shake the feeling that something had shifted in their relationship. Scene 3, The Storm. As they walked, dark clouds began to roll in, casting a shadow over the beach. A distant rumble of thunder echoed ominously, causing Lila to glance up. We should probably head back, she said, her instincts kicking in. Yeah, but I want to enjoy this time with you, Jack replied, his gaze steady. Let's go a little longer. Before they could take more steps, the wind picked up, howling through the trees. Run! Lila shouted, laughter mingling with exhilaration as they sprinted toward the nearest beach hut. They burst inside, breathless and laughing, their hair tousled by the wind. The rain began to pour heavily outside, the sound drowning out everything else. Jack leaned against the door, his chest rising and falling rapidly. Wow, that was close. Just a little adventure, right? Lila replied, her heart racing from more than just the run. Just like old times, he said, a soft smile on his lips. As the storm raged outside, they shared stories, their laughter echoing in the small space. Lila felt a sense of warmth and safety with Jack that she hadn't felt in years. Do you remember that time we got caught in the rain after that carnival? Jack said, his eyes sparkling with mischief. We ended up soaking wet, running through the streets like idiots. How could I forget? Lila laughed. You convinced me to dance in the rain. I thought we'd get in so much trouble. Best night ever, he said, his tone sincere. I've missed moments like that. I've missed us, Lila admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. Jack's expression softened. Me too. There's something about being back here with you that feels right. Just then, a flash of lightning illuminated the hut, followed by a crack of thunder that shook the walls. Okay, this storm is intense, Lila said, her heart racing. Let's hope the power doesn't go out. I'll protect you, Jack said, grinning. With my awesome manly skills. Very reassuring, Lila teased, rolling her eyes. But the moment of levity was fleeting, as Jack's expression grew serious. Lila, there's something I need to tell you. Her breath caught in her throat. What is it? I've always had feelings for you. More than just friendship. I thought maybe I could come back and we could explore this, whatever this is between us, he said, his voice low and earnest. Lila's heart raced, her pulse quickening at his admission. Jack, I know it's complicated. But I can't keep pretending I don't feel this way, he interrupted, his gaze steady. What do you think? Tears pricked at Lila's eyes as she processed his words. I've liked you for so long, but I didn't want to ruin what we had. Jack stepped closer, closing the distance between them. Maybe it's time to stop worrying about the past and focus on what we can have now. Can I kiss you? He whispered, his breath warm against her face. Yes, she breathed, her heart swelling with emotion. Their lips met in a fiery embrace, igniting a spark that had been waiting to explode. Lila wrapped her arms around Jack's neck, pulling him closer as the rain pounded down, creating a rhythm that matched their racing hearts. Scene 4, The Aftermath. When the storm finally subsided, Lila and Jack found themselves sitting on the floor of the hut, their fingers intertwined, the remnants of their passionate kiss still lingering in the air. I can't believe we just did that, Lila said, her cheeks flushed. Jack chuckled softly, his eyes warm. Neither can I. But it felt right. It did, she replied, a soft smile spreading across her face. As they sat together, Lila realized this was just the beginning. She had found the love she had longed for, hidden in the whispers of her heart. "I don't want to rush into anything," Jack said, his voice serious but gentle. "Let's take our time. I want to make sure we do this right." "I can agree to that," she said, her heart fluttering at the thought of their future. "But I have to be honest. I'm scared." "Scared of what?" Jack asked, tilting his head. "Scared of losing you again. Scared of being vulnerable," she confessed, her voice trembling. Jack squeezed her hand. "You won't lose me. I'm here, and I'm not going anywhere. We'll figure this out together." Lila smiled, feeling a warmth spread through her. "Okay. Together." As they shared their hopes and dreams, the storm outside faded into a gentle drizzle, leaving behind a fresh scent of earth and salt. Lila knew this was just the beginning of their adventure together, a new chapter in their story waiting to unfold. With their connection rekindled, Lila and Jack spent the next few weeks rediscovering each other. They explored the town, shared their favorite spots, and reminisced about their childhood memories. Each moment together deepened their bond, and Lila found herself falling for him all over again. One evening, they sat on the beach, watching the sunset paint the sky in brilliant colors. Lila leaned her head on Jack's shoulder, feeling content and at peace. "Do you think we can make this work?" she asked softly, breaking the comfortable silence. "I believe we can," Jack replied, his voice steady. "I want to be with you, Lila. You're worth the risk." She looked up at him, her heart swelling with love. "Then let's make it happen." They sealed their commitment with a kiss, the world around them fading away as they embraced the possibility of their future together. Scene 5, a surprise reunion. A week after the storm, Lila was busy at her desk, surrounded by crumpled papers and half-finished drafts. The sun streamed through her window, illuminating the small room she called her writing nook. It was her sanctuary, filled with books and memories. She was lost in thought when her phone buzzed with a text from Jack. "How about a surprise picnic at the lighthouse?" A smile spread across her face as she quickly typed back, "Sounds amazing. What time?" "Meet me there at 5. Don't be late." Lila couldn't help but feel excited. She spent the rest of the day preparing a simple picnic, choosing her favorite sandwiches, fruit, and a bottle of sparkling water. She also grabbed a blanket, knowing the lighthouse offered a stunning view of the sunset. "Wow, this is beautiful," Lila exclaimed, taking in the view. The lighthouse stood tall, a sentinel against the waves crashing below, while the sun hung low on the horizon, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. "Only the best for you," Jack replied, his eyes twinkling. He gestured to the spread he had laid out, sandwiches wrapped in parchment, fresh fruit, and even a couple of cookies from Brood Awakening. "Did you really bring cookies?" she asked, laughing as she sat down on the blanket. "Of course. You can't have a picnic without dessert," he said, grinning as he joined her on the blanket. As they enjoyed their meal, they chatted about everything and nothing, their favorite books, childhood memories, and dreams for the future. Jack talked about his travels, sharing stories of wild adventures in foreign lands. "I climbed a volcano in Costa Rica," he said, his excitement infectious. "The view from the top was breathtaking. You would have loved it." Lila leaned forward, captivated. "What was it like?" "Imagine standing on the edge, looking down into a steaming crater, surrounded by lush greenery. It felt like I was on top of the world," he said, his voice filled with passion. "I can't believe you did that." "I can barely handle roller coasters," she joked, laughing at her own fear of heights. Jack chuckled, his eyes softening as they locked onto hers. "You've got your own mountains to climb, Lila. Like finishing your novel." "I'm trying," she said, her tone more serious. "It's just hard to find the right words sometimes." "Just write from the heart," he encouraged. "That's where the magic happens." They spent the rest of the evening watching the sun sink below the horizon, their hands intertwined, the air thick with possibility. Scene 6, The Conflict. A few days later, as Lila worked on her novel at a local cafe, she overheard a conversation at the next table that made her stomach twist. A group of tourists were discussing Jack, mentioning his travels and how he was back in town, seemingly without a plan. "Seems like he's just biding his time until he gets bored again," one of them scoffed. Lila's heart sank. The idea that Jack might leave again haunted her. What if he got restless and wanted to travel again? She felt a wave of insecurity wash over her, doubt creeping in. Later that day, Lila met Jack at a local beach bonfire with friends. As they sat around the crackling fire, the glow of the flames illuminating their faces, she couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. "Hey, you okay?" Jack asked, noticing her distracted demeanor. "Yeah, just a bit tired," she lied, forcing a smile. "Come on, Lila. I know you too well." "What's going on?" he pressed, concern etched on his face. She sighed, unsure of how to voice her fears. "I overheard some people talking about you at the cafe today. They said you might leave again, just like before." Jack's brow furrowed, and he shifted closer to her, the heat of the fire barely warming the chill in her heart. "You think I'm going to run off again?" "I don't know," she burst out, her voice rising. I don't want to get hurt again. You're back, and it's amazing, but what if it's only temporary?" Jack took a deep breath, searching for the right words. "Lila, I came back for a reason. I'm not going anywhere. I want to be here, with you. But if you don't trust me, how can we make this work?" His words stung, but she knew he was right. "I do trust you, but it's hard. I'm scared of losing you." Jack's expression softened, and he took her hand. "You won't lose me. I promise." Lila felt the weight of his words, but doubt still lingered in the back of her mind. She wanted to believe him, but her fears were hard to shake. Scene 7, The Road Trip. To ease the tension, Jack suggested a spontaneous road trip to a nearby town famous for its art festival. Lila hesitated but eventually agreed, hoping that getting away would help them reconnect. The drive was filled with laughter and music, the windows rolled down as the wind tousled their hair. Jack had created a playlist filled with songs they both loved, and Lila found herself singing along, feeling the joy of the moment wash over her. As they arrived, they were greeted by vibrant art installations, food stalls, and live music. Lila's eyes sparkled with excitement as they wandered through the festival, sampling local delicacies and admiring the artwork. "Look at that." Lila pointed to a large mural, its colors vibrant and alive. "It's stunning." Jack nodded, appreciating the artistry. "You could totally do something like this with your writing. Create something that speaks to people." They moved through the crowd, stopping to watch a local artist paint a mural on a nearby wall. "I wish I could paint like that," Lila said, her admiration evident. "Maybe you just need to find your medium," Jack suggested, nudging her playfully. "You've got a way with words, and that's your art." As the sun began to set, they found a quiet spot to sit and enjoy the view of the ocean. The sky was painted in shades of purple and gold, a perfect backdrop for the moment. "I'm glad we did this," Lila said, her heart feeling lighter. "Me too," Jack replied, looking at her with warmth. "We needed this." Just then, a couple nearby began dancing, and Jack stood up, extending his hand. "Care to join me?" Lila laughed, surprised but delighted. "You want to dance? Here. Why not? Life's too short," he said, pulling her up. They danced under the fading light, laughter and joy enveloping them. Lila felt her worries drift away, replaced by the warmth of the moment. Scene 8, The Climax. As their road trip came to an end, Lila felt renewed but still carried a nagging fear about their future. Upon returning to Seabreeze, they were invited to a local gathering at the beach, a bonfire celebration with friends and families. As the sun dipped below the horizon, the atmosphere was lively and carefree. Lila watched Jack mingle with friends, his infectious laughter ringing through the air. But as she observed him, a sense of doubt crept back in. Later that night, while sitting on the beach, Lila found herself lost in thought, her worries bubbling to the surface. Jack noticed her distant gaze and settled beside her, concern etched on his face. "Hey, what's going on?" he asked gently, sensing her unease. "I don't want to ruin tonight, but I can't shake this feeling," Lila began, hesitating. "Just say it," he encouraged, his voice steady. "What if you get bored again? What if you leave me like before?" she blurted out, her vulnerability spilling over. "I'm scared, Jack." He sighed, clearly frustrated but understanding. "Lila, I came back because I want to be with you. I'm not planning on leaving again. I'm ready to commit to this, to us." "But what if you change your mind?" she asked, tears brimming in her eyes. "What if I'm not enough?" Jack reached for her hand, squeezing it tightly. "You're more than enough. I've never felt this way about anyone before. You mean everything to me. I want to believe you," she whispered, her heart aching. "Then believe me. Let's take this leap together," he said, his voice filled with conviction. With a surge of courage, Lila leaned in closer, searching his eyes for sincerity. "Okay. Together." Jack pulled her into his arms, holding her tightly. "Always together." Scene 9, The Resolution. In the days that followed, Lila and Jack focused on strengthening their relationship. They talked openly about their fears and dreams, discovering new depths to their connection. One evening, as they sat on the porch of Lila's house, watching the stars twinkle in the clear sky, Lila felt a sense of peace settle within her. "You know, I used to be afraid of writing about love," she confessed, her voice soft. "Why's that?" Jack asked, turning to her with genuine curiosity. "Because I was scared it would never happen for me. I didn't think I could write about something I had never experienced," she admitted, her heart opening up. "But now," he prompted, leaning closer. "Now I see that love is worth the risk. I want to write about it, about us," she said, her eyes shining. Jack smiled, his heart swelling with pride. "I'd love to read anything you write about us. You have a gift, Lila." As they sat together, wrapped in each other's warmth, Lila felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude. "Thank you for being patient with me, for believing in us." "Always," Jack promised, brushing a stray hair behind her ear. "You'll never have to doubt my feelings for you. I'm all in." In that moment, Lila knew they had crossed a threshold into something beautiful and lasting. Together, they could weather any storm and embrace the adventure of life, hand in hand. Scene 10, The Future. Months later, Lila finished her novel. She decided to host a small gathering at the beach to celebrate its completion, inviting close friends and family. Jack was by her side, his support unwavering. As the sun set, casting a warm glow over the beach, Lila stood in front of her loved ones, heart racing. "Thank you all for being here. This novel is a piece of my heart, inspired by the love and support you've given me." Jack watched her with admiration, pride swelling in his chest. As Lila continued to speak, he couldn't help but marvel at how far they had come. Later that evening, as the celebration continued, Jack pulled Lila aside, away from the crowd. "I'm so proud of you," he said, his voice filled with warmth. "Thank you for always believing in me," she replied, her heart full. "Lila, I have something to ask you," he said, his expression serious. "What is it?" she asked, her pulse quickening. "I want to take this next step with you. I don't want to just be your boyfriend, I want to build a future together," he said, his eyes searching hers. Lila's heart raced with excitement and hope. "Are you saying what I think you're saying?" Jack nodded, reaching into his pocket. "I am." "Lila, will you marry me?" As he pulled out a simple but beautiful ring, tears filled Lila's eyes. "Yes. 1,000 times yes," she exclaimed, throwing her arms around him. They embraced, laughter and joy mingling as they celebrated their love, knowing that together, they could face anything life threw their way.